My name is Craig Saddlemire. Can you hear me in the back? All right, great. So, am I rolling? All right, RAISE-UP stands for respect, accountability, integration, solidarity, and equity. Equity is the mission. The first four letters are the principles by which the housing cooperative operates. And it's cool to follow Marty because that housing co-op I live in right now is just a few hundred feet from where his operation is. This is a healing ceremony. This happened about maybe 16 months ago. There was a terrible series of fires that devastated downtown Lewiston, which is my neighborhood where I live. We had a big healing ceremony to address the problems that were happening in the neighborhood, the reason why buildings were burning down, the reason why they were neglected, and and now we have a cat. Basically, what we're interested in at the RAISE-UP Housing Cooperative is relationships. That is the relationship between tenants and the relationship between property owners and the relationship between property. Growing up, the way I related to property was I lived in single-family homes in the suburbs, very isolated, very much sort of thinking of like, this is my private property, that's your private property, and that's the end of it. But later in life, I learned about the way in which our lives are interconnected, the ways in which we actually share space, even if we think we own space, even if we think it's ours permanently and naturally and all that other good stuff. It's actually not, and there's a lot of ways in which we bump into each other, and we need to figure out how to address that reality. So these are the four founders of the Fair Band Apart Housing Cooperative. We started a housing co-op on Maple Street in Lewiston back in 2008. We were one of just two urban housing cooperatives at the time, and now we're the only urban housing cooperative. The other one shut down. It was in Bath. What is a housing cooperative? You own a share of stock in a corporation that you form together. As a shareholder, you own and control your corporation. The corporation owns the building, and then you lease your unit from the corporation. So you're the tenant, you're the owner, you're on the board of directors, and you run the thing together. So we live in a 3-unit apartment building. We'd organize events for ourselves and our friends. In certain ways, it's very much like a rental. There's still an element of privacy. You have your own unit, but at the same time, there's, again, cooperative ownership, cooperative control, cooperative decision-making that makes you address, how you relate to each other, how you address sort of the commons that is your building and the greater commons that is your sort of block or neighborhood. You do work parties, you do different things to improve the quality of the property and what you build. I mean, there's different ways to actually set up a housing cooperative. There's zero equity or group equity, there's limited equity, and then there's just sort of the market rate. We operate somewhere between a limited equity and a group equity, but the idea is you're in those models, that is group and limited equity, you're building equity for everyone. No individual can just buy low and sell high, cash in when the market is strong, and then leave. Everyone shares a piece of the pizza pie together. We have mechanisms in place to make sure that people are rewarded for their contributions equitably. This is a picture of this is the most recent membership at the Fair Band Apart Housing Cooperative. That was our Halloween photo. And that's the history of the Fair Op. So coming up next this is a board meeting of the RAISE-UP. The Fair Op has been an all-volunteer operation, meaning it's just, 3 units. The members that live there, I think we have 6 adult members right now, and we've been running the show together. But we think cooperative housing is perhaps not the solution to everything, all of the housing issues in Lewiston, but it's a good alternative that a lot of people would like to be a part of if they could. So we want to expand it. Our goal is to own between 15 and 25 units of cooperatively owned housing by July 2016. That's our aggressive goal. It might take a little bit longer than that. We've formed a board of directors. We have 11 directors. We've started seeking financing. We actually have an offer on a building right now, another 3-unit. Some of the lessons we've learned from the Fair Op that we're trying to apply to the new thing. When it comes to changing relationships to property, it's very hard to just swoop in and change someone's relationship when they're already there. And we dealt with a very difficult eviction at one point. When the Fair Op started, we invited members who already lived in the building to be a part of the co-op, and eventually it got very difficult, in part I mean, there were a lot of things going on, but I think one of the challenges was the fact that they were used to relating to their property in a certain way, and the co-op just surrounding them, they stayed out of convenience less than their actual interest in fully embodying what the cooperative is about. So we're trying to find buildings that we can save, bring back online, and bring people into the building on the cooperative's terms. And there's a number of different financial mechanisms we're using to do that. Low-income housing tax credits are probably not going to be the way for a number of reasons, but we're getting grants, we're getting financing from the cities, and we're doing community financing as well. That is, other friends and people kicking in at low interest rates to help support the project. This is the cooperative symbol, in case people aren't familiar with it, the two pine trees. Another important part of our project is not just providing housing, but building leadership, using the model itself to develop the members, and we're starting with that at the board level. We tried to develop a board that was reflective of the diversity of the community of the neighborhood in the greater Lewiston+Auburn community, and sort of giving everyone, rather than just like swooping in and bringing in professionals, we're just starting with who's here and building the skills ourselves to address the problems that face our neighborhoods. Again, this is just sort of coming back to that symbol of learning to share, learning to be comfortable, bumping elbows with folks, and sort of embracing that interaction that comes with cooperative living. And we're starting in Lewiston because that's where we've been operating, but we consider Lewiston+Auburn one downtown. We're interested in looking across the river and trying to make cooperative housing available there too, because it's one community and certainly one housing market. So that's my thing. Thank you very much.